And we are live. Hello and welcome. My name is Avon, CRM and Marketing Automation Specialist at Relevate. And today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that are wrong with your CRM. So we're going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about some general stuff about your CRM, but then getting into the reasons why a lot of businesses fail with CRM and why, if you've got one or if you're thinking about shopping one, that you need to focus on the right aspects so that you make a good choice and that you save yourself potentially thousands of dollars and hours, days, weeks, months of rework. So let's get it right from the start and let's have a look. All right. So what we've got here is a basic structure of a CRM. So we've got the process at least that we go through with the leads. So you've got the lead, which is the first capture. So the lead is the information that you're getting. So I would not advise scraping tons of data from a list. You want to get good quality data. So your leads are going to come from, people who have gone to your website and maybe engaged with the chatbot. Maybe they've downloaded a ebook. Maybe they've emailed you. You've met them at a networking event. You've exchanged some cards. You've had some level of contact. They know who you are. There is some engagement of some sort. Reaching out cold, yes, it's doable, but I don't really see that as a good idea to put in a link in your leads in your CRM, because you're going to fill it with all this data that's just not being effectively used. You don't have all the right details. You don't have the 4 critical components of understanding or of a deal, basically. So you've got budget, need, authority to make decision, and timeline. If they don't have those 4 things, then they're not really someone who's going to be your customer. So then there's a qualification process. So that's when you start to filter out the ones that are kind of interested, or they're just looking for information, but then they're not going to go any further. So once you've qualified them, then you're going to convert them into a contact, account, and opportunity. So those components, those standard object fields, predominantly make up standard CRM structure, are important because they help you understand and map out the relationship between the company, the entity that you're doing the business with. Maybe there's multiple entities, and then you've got customers, the contacts of the employees. Maybe they're a consultant who's advising, and in the consultant example, they're part of their own company, but then they're also related to another company that you might be working with, and they are someone in the middle who's related to multiple accounts. So it's important to be able to track those relationships, and they do need to be separate objects in the CRM so that you can build those relationships in. And then the last one there being the opportunity, which is the discussion over a piece of work. So it's the talking about what you're doing, and it has a life cycle. So there are different people involved in the discussion. There is stages that you go through, and being able to make it predictable and map it to a process means that you can repeat it. You can do it more effectively. You can do it more efficiently, and you can map and track multiple relationships or discussions at different points, at different times, over a long period of time. So it's an important way to be able to create some efficiency. Then we have the lead management process, where they come in, you decide whether or not they're a duplicate. So having that check process means that you're not just going to fill your CRM with irrelevant data. It means that when you run an automation and you send an email to hi first name, that there is actually a first name, and that one person doesn't get the email twice. So we're creating a bit more of that personalized marketing. We're making sure that, if you're paying per contact or per, bracket of contact, that we're staying efficient. We're making sure that people aren't getting spammed by getting 2, 3, 4, 5 emails from you in one hit for the same thing. So it's good practice, and it's also good customer relations. All right. So then once you've got your lead process and you've gone through that process of determining, getting rid of the duplicates, determining if they're interested, if they're not, give that feedback to marketing so that they can improve their targeting. If they are good, then but they're not ready, you can put them into a nurture process. Otherwise, you're going to go and go straight for the jugular, for the deal, for for the opportunity. So in this image, what I'm basically saying is you need to fill the top of your pipeline. And yes, you want to fill it, but you don't want to fill it with junk. So, make sure you have a good process and a good way to filter out the wrong leads, but then pour as many of the right leads in as possible. Then they go through a filtration process. So you're trying to, make those that are interested more interested, get rid of the ones that are not, and distill that down into the ones that are just right for your business. So ideally, then you'll be drinking through a fire hose with all the good leads, all the right people that you want to have in your business as customers, as partners, etc. Now, there's been a few reports and documents written, one in there by Deloitte, another one by the World Economic Forum, basically saying that Australia is well behind the times when it comes to CRM. 70% of Australian businesses don't have a CRM, and those that do get 44% more revenue than ones that don't have any kind of system, or they've got basic systems, or they've got a cobbled together mess of things and spreadsheets. So we are behind the times. Now, it's really important that we adapt, we change. These are slightly older articles at 2017, but the data hasn't really changed that much. There is a little bit more of an uptake in CRM, but for those businesses that are, they're going to absolutely crush those that aren't. So it's something that we just need to address right now. So in addressing that issue, one of the things you'll face is that there is this early period where if you were to follow the same path, you're going to make more money in the short run. You can see that there is that linear line. That would be the business with basic systems or no system. They're the ones that are continually, nose to the grindstone, working harder and harder. But then you've got that exponential growth curve where if you had adopted a CRM, yes, there's a bit of work on the front end. There's a bit of learning. There's a bit of cost, but it's going to give you the benefits massively in the long run. All right. So, and remembering that having a system allows you to collect information, and what gets measured gets managed. It then allows you to automate things based on that. So whilst most businesses feel that there's a lot of administrative pressure on them, and being able to do more requires, people's attention. It's harder work. It requires more concentration. So the more you throw people at it as you scale, the more that there's errors, the more that there's people that just forget to do processes. So being able to put it into a system with automation allows you to get to that sustainable model where, you know that there's things are happening in the back end because, X triggers Y, Z. The software is the employee that never sleeps. And your administrative burden, whilst there seems like, CRM might be all about admin, it actually means that you do less of it in the long run because there's the automation side. You get the reporting where once upon a time you'd have to spend 3 weeks putting together, or 3 days or something, putting together the data in a spreadsheet. So you can then create a report. So either you just don't do it, or it's a lot of work. So now with the dashboard, with a report or something, you just click a refresh button and you've got the latest report down to the second. So it can be much more time efficient and cost effective when you use a proper system. So a lot of businesses and a lot of people, a lot of business owners give up right before the moment of truth, right before they get to the diamonds, right before they get to the point where they're actually going to be making some form of improvement, some money. They're going to get the data out. Data is seen as the new currency in business. So having a lot of information isn't good. Having a lot of well-structured information is good. And that gives you the ability to filter down to a particular set and be able to offer a particular product to a very niche market set. It might be able to allow you to understand, to reach out to all the people in one bracket very personally who might be about to, stop being your customer or something. Give them an offer and keep them for another year or 2 or 3 or 10. So being able to have those data insights on who to reach out to when, using things like machine learning and AI, and no, it's not that hard to do if you have a place for the data and you are collecting it. All right, so let's get into it. 5 reasons why your CRM is broken. Number 1, or sorry, number 5, countdown. Here we go. Ease of use versus worth using. So the ease of use side is the user interface. It is the ability for you to easily get in, click things, open tasks. You know, people often choose a software by how it feels and looks. So if it looks nice, it feels smooth, you know, the button wiggles, or it looks clean, or whatever, that's great. But the other side of that is the worth using. You know, does it have the ability to store all the information you need? Are you coming up with new insights and new ideas, new ways to collect information to create extra value down the track? For example, if you collected a bit of data about your client, which when you're sitting in the meeting room, you're probably going to ask it anyway, and you're just going to absorb it and then do the job. If you're collecting it and writing it down, potentially you could create identify trends and patterns. Maybe you can preempt certain future issues, problems, tasks based on that bit of data, or even create reports for third parties and sell data. For example, there's a playground company not far from us here, and just understanding how many kids are going to the playground, and they weren't going to do it through the customer relationships. They're going to create an app so they can go to the playground and you know, scan something and then interact with the game. So they've been able, ideally, they're able to not necessarily give the data of who the people are going to the playgrounds, but just how often people are going to a playground, what times of day. These sorts of things councils want to know. So you could potentially create a revenue stream off the back of something you already have. So there's the ease of use versus the worth using. So the user solution or the technical solution. But I'd say the happy medium is that place in the middle where you're bringing the highly technical users down to a usable level, and you're bringing the user-friendly, wanted super simple people up. So you need to reskill and train and improve people on the lower technical scale, and you need to simplify and make it more easy to use and understand from the technical side down. And that zone in the middle is the sweet spot. So there's change for everybody. The next one is seeing it as a cost rather than an investment. So a cost is something that you want to minimize. An investment is something you want to maximize. So why would you want to cut user licenses or go for the cheaper option with less functions and power if the end result means that you're not going to get that function, that capability, that power out the other end? So for example, if I use a system and it's going to save me 10 minutes a day per employee and I have 20 employees, then that's going to be 30 working days at the end of the year that I'm going to save, or across 20 employees per employee. So across 20 employees, that's one full wage for the year that you're going to save using a little bit of automation to save 10 minutes per employee per day. So it's no small thing. You know, you might have a software license fee of $50, $100, $200, whatever it is. It's certainly going to be worth more. The wage cost is going to be worth more than the time you're going to save. But then there's other benefits too, like I said, with the data, with your customer relationships. They're going to go and tell their friends. They're going to talk about you at barbecues. And those that investment side is a lot harder to manage, but significantly bigger than the cost of the license ever will be, or the cost of the implementation. So then number 3 is making your CRM an island rather than having it as your central area for customer information, making it your operations center, your war room, your little panel or dashboard where you go to and just deal with everything in your business. You should almost operate through that rather than having it this thing that's off to the side. You don't touch it. You don't do anything other than just to tell it that you did something. So if it's something that's not connected in with you every day, if it's not connected into your emails, connected into perhaps your phone system, your mobile app, and your staff aren't using it every day or communicating with each other through it, then you're going to lose the value. It's going to just be this thing over there, and it becomes a chore. It's something that you have to go and update. So it doesn't happen, or it just minimally happens. So make sure it's something that's core to everything you do. Number two is not making it a strategic decision. You know, some businesses go through 5 or 6, they'll have a go, they'll have a play, but they'll ironically put all their data in. Having a go, having a play is fine. Put 2 records in, put 10 records in, see how you go with that before you put in 1,000, then run it for your month, 2 months, a year, and then go, don't like it anymore, because what you're going to lose is a ton of interrelated data. You're going to lose all the connections. There'll be some that you can't export, or if you do, you've got to transform it in some way to put it into the next system. And maybe the next system doesn't take that type of data, or doesn't take it in the same way, or you've got some limits, whatever it is. If it becomes something that you're rolling with, it can be a little bit of a problem. Whereas if you do it more of a strategic decision, maybe you might make a bit more of an investment out of it and make a bigger and better first step into something that's going to be better for you long term, rather than that thing that does nice little things now. One big problem is, like with the plumbers, there's a point solution, a single focused platform that does really, really well for them. But the problem with that is they become the same as every other plumber. They've got no ability to change. So that might work for them until they got 20 employees, but when they go bigger, then they can't, they've got to make some big change. It's going to cost a lot of money. Whereas sometimes if they went out on a limb and chose something a bit bigger sooner, they might have a little bit more ability to grow strategically and do something different to that next plumber along. And in line with a lot of the comments from that one, is the number one problem that I see is the lack of flexibility. Grabbing a thing and trying to a box and trying to fit your business into it. What the better option is to grab something that's a lot more flexible and gives you choice, the ability to sort of develop into it and then grow from there. So that allows you then to come up with new products and services, to address new market needs that you didn't envisage before, to pivot and turn and change your business without having to swap between CRMs every 5 minutes. It's one of the ways that you can effectively grow, and not only flexible for the business, but sometimes for the employees as well. Making that button easier to see, easier to find, building instructions into the system so that we mean this, when you click this, this is going to happen. That way, you're kind of reducing your need to go and train people, because the system is training them as they do it. And that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for attending the webinar today, or if you're watching the replay, please feel free to drop something in the comments, to subscribe, or to hit that little notification bell so that you'll get updated when we have our new releases. We have podcasts all the time, screen share demos, and we go through little questionnaires and things like this. So I appreciate your time, and if you want to reach out, please jump onto the website, relevate.com.au, and if you want, you can also check out, we've got a chat forum, we've got podcasts, we've got all sorts of stuff. So just let us know, and we'll be in touch. But otherwise, thank you and have a great day.